of the week. How's everybody doing? Life good? Like we knew it would be. Okay. So I asked a question the other day, and that question has to do with carbohydrates and fat inside of a food. Okay. So let's say that I have, let's see here. Let's add this water right here that I'm holding. I have this water, and let's say this is the food. So this whole thing is 100%. Now, half of it would be 50%. And what I'm doing is I just want clarity on what I mean by a food that's rich in both carbohydrates and fat. So if, let's say, 80% of this is made up of carbohydrates and fat, then that means 20% is made up of protein. So what I'm looking at is when the foods come together, or not the foods, but the macronutrients, your carbohydrates and fat inside of a food. If it makes up over 80%, close to 90%, if not more, then I would say that that's the majority of what makes that food, right? So if you look at avocado, an avocado is made up primarily of fat, very low in protein and low in carbs. It's like 85%, if not a little bit more, fat. So avocado is a food that naturally occurs that's rich in fat. If you looked at a potato is low in fat, low in protein, has a little bit of protein, but it's primarily made up of carbohydrates. If you look at corn or banana, they're made up primarily of carbohydrates. They're low in fat and they're low in protein. So my question was, what food is naturally occurring that we can eat or humans eat that is rich in both carbohydrates and fat, meaning it's going to be very low in protein? There's only one food. Now, if there's another food, let me know about it. But there's only one. And I took the first 100 answers and no one got it right. They came close, but they didn't get it right. So I'm going to share with you, drum roll, drum roll, drum roll. Okay. I am going to share with you what the answer is. And it's interesting because I'm writing a new book. And in this book, I actually talk about what I'm going to share with you. And my goal is to help people look at nutrition differently, because there's a lot of new science that all of my physician friends have no idea about. All of my colleagues in the nutrition world, dietitians, they have no idea about. And I'm really excited about it because I've really connected the dots. You know, it's like in Ethiopia, they have this proverb that says, when spider webs unite, they can tie up an elephant. It's like when you connect the dots, you have major strength. And as I coach clients, right? So if you were a client of mine or if you're working with one of our other coaches, I strongly recommend you do that because we're cutting edge. And there's a lot of people in the battle, the struggle with losing weight. And what we have put together and what we do is like nothing else. I mean, we have 2 evidence-based, clinically proven trials that support our work already. And what we're about to make available to the public is going to be a game changer on how people look at nutrition, how they look at weight loss. And we're going to get people off medications. And I know you want the answer. I'm all over the place. But this one basic thing that I'm going to share with you is a snapshot of what makes us really unique and how we help people get to where they want to be. Because more people in my space or in the wellness space, you would think they would know the answer. And it's not a negative that they don't know the answer. It's not at all. But it's a whole bunch of things like this question and these answers that most people don't know that I have in the book and that we make available to our clients. So, you know, the goal is that you're learning as you're applying and you're reaping the benefits of putting in the work. And so when you look at foods that are naturally occurring, that are rich in fat and carbohydrates, the food I'm going to share with you is actually 40% carbohydrate and 58% fat. There's only 2% left to play with, and that's protein. And when you eat foods that are rich in carbohydrates and fat, what can you expect? This is what you can expect. You're going to gain weight. You're going to gain weight. So what are foods that are not naturally, but what are foods that are high in fat and high in carbs that people eat? They're processed foods. Pizza, for instance, high in fat, high in carbs. If you're eating that regularly, you're going to gain some body fat. Now, I just had pizza the other day, and there's things to know about how pizza works, and not everyone's going to respond to pizza the same, right? Because, and when I say respond, I'm talking about the insulin response, which is a hormone that is largely responsible for how we gain weight or why we end up gaining weight, and sometimes what inhibits us from being able to let go of body fat, right? If I have a milkshake, high in fat, high in carbs, again, process. If I'm eating cake, most cakes, high in fat, high in carbs, you're going to gain weight. But there's one food, and I'm going to give you the answer, that if you're lucky, you get the opportunity to enjoy, and it helps you grow. The answer is, it's not legumes. It's not fries. No. I mean, I saw a lot of different answers, over 100, and not one person knew the answer. The answer is breast milk. Breast milk. When a baby gets breast milk, they are like that's the healthiest baby you're gonna. I mean, that's like ideal. But a baby, we are expecting them to grow, and they're being fed to grow. Breast milk is gold and is naturally occurring. Think about this. You could be in China, you could be in Mexico, you could be in the States, you could be in any state, you could be in Canada, you can be in Australia, and the percentage of the ratios is going to be the same. Every woman, no matter what she looks like, her genetic makeup doesn't matter. Doesn't even matter what she's really eating and not eating. That breast milk is going to be made available to that baby, that growing baby, at 40% carbohydrates and 58% fat all over the world. God is amazing. He knows what he's doing. It's awesome. It's kind of like when I think of homeostasis, right? You think of temperature. No matter where you go in the world, 98.6, that temperature is when everything is in balance. Makes total sense to me. You have to work hard or have something happen to get you out of balance. Well, when it comes to your fasting glucose, there's a homeostasis there. It's usually 65 up to 99. And your body works really hard, whether you're eating or not eating, to keep the blood glucose, the glucose levels between 65 and 99. Well, when it comes to eating food, the more processed that food is, and there's levels of process, the more likely you're going to see that type of insulin response. And I'm talking about foods that are high in fat and high in carbs. Now, you can't drink breast milk your whole life, right? And you don't want to keep growing your whole life. It has its role, and it does what it does. And that's a win-win. So that's the answer. One food that humans consume that is rich, naturally rich in fat and carbohydrates, very low in protein. It makes you wonder, like, we live in this world where everyone's always going out of their way to get more protein. Everything is about, am I getting enough protein? Am I getting enough protein? As a former U.S. Marine, as a former pro athlete, as an athlete my entire life, as a person who once was a vegan, meaning I wasn't consuming anything that people would say had protein in it, I had no problem doing what I did. When I ran the LA Marathon, I was a vegan. It's very difficult in North America to live a life without getting an adequate amount of protein. You know, you get a cup of broccoli, that's 5 grams of protein. If you got a broccoli rabe, that's a cup of that is 15 grams of protein. In vegetables, I mean, you have people argue it. I'm just, and I'm not a vegan at this moment in time. However, I do support vegans, and I have many clients that are vegans, and it's never a challenge to get an adequate amount of protein. So now you guys know the answer. The answer is breast milk. Outside of that, if it's high in fat and high in carbs, it's something that we made, man-made, manufactured, processed, oftentimes highly processed. So I would love your comments. I would love your share. I'm getting ready and will be, depending on when you catch this replay or the live, etc. I'm putting on a webinar. So I want to encourage you to go to our website, dietfreelife.com. And when you scroll down to the bottom of the website, you can sign up for our free newsletter. Our newsletter is active. I'm adding recipes to our newsletter. It's free. You don't have to buy anything to get access to it. But I will be announcing in our newsletter when this free webinar, where I'm going to unveil some cool science that I promise you, it will change the way you look at nutrition. I don't care what your level of expertise is. You are going to be blown away. Mind-blowing. And for the last 8 months of my life, my head has been spinning as I continue to make a ton of progress, really with the goal of reaching the masses. And even with our coaches, as they become more knowledgeable of this and are in a position to be successful in helping more people with this updated new information about nutrition science, I'm very excited for them. And I'm excited for you. Oh yeah, by the way, someone, I get asked all the time, this clock behind me, is that Flavor Flav? It reminds them of the Flavor, Flavor Flav always had the clock on. Well, Flav actually gave me that clock, and we are still working on writing a book together. So shout out Big Flav. Okay. Well, there you go. That's it. If you have questions, reach out to me. My contact information is available. Comment. If you're on YouTube, subscribe. If you're on Facebook, share this with other people. Don't keep it a secret if you find it interesting, appealing, or something you believe could help other people. Now, drink your water. I'm on I just passed 100 ounces of water today. I am so happy and proud of myself because I don't like water, but I know the benefits of it. So I'm going to keep it going. Okay, so until the next one, I'm Robert Ferguson.